Here we go. I'm on live now. So let's see if we can get everything else going. So let's go live on Instagram. Chat's enabled. And then we are gonna go to Charity Lowe's Art. See if I can get myself on here. So I'm there because I can't see the comments. Oh boy, it's gonna need to turn that down off. And then I gotta find myself on TikTok so I can see the comments there. Where is TikTok? There's TikTok. For some reason, Restream will only let me see comments from YouTube and Twitch, but it won't let me see. Oh, that needs to be turned down too. It won't let me see the comments from TikTok or Facebook or Instagram, so I have to pull those up separately. So just give me a minute while I put this, get this up, started up here. Okay, come on. Here I am. And I am watching myself on TikTok through a secondary account. So I won't be able to see everything that happens, just so you're aware. I do have the comments up and running. So anyways, just to give you a quick introduction of myself. My name's Charity Lowe. I do commission portraits. I've been doing them professionally since 2020, maybe a little bit before then. And that's how I got through COVID. And then I got myself a job with the Vinci Eye App, which is the app that I'm going to be using in these live videos. So what I do for them is I make tutorials, advertisements, and I teach live on their YouTube channel every Friday from 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time. And with that, I am willing to do commissions still. There's different levels of prices. So you can get a drawing for free. It would be 11 by 14 inch drawing in color or black and white. This is for photorealistic drawings. Pencil work. So as the reason why I can give it to you for free is if I can make it into a live lesson for the Vinci Eye App YouTube channel. It will possibly take quite a bit of time to get to because it's a first come, first serve basis. And there's other little things that I do in those lives as well. So I can't give you a direct, like a time frame on when it's going to be done. And I also cannot save it for a surprise for a gift. Then there is a 65% off for if you allow me to make it into a tutorial and advertisements, the footage of me doing it. I can give you an approximation on when it's going to be done. This is the quickest way to get it done because I can spend most of my working hours on the drawing. And I could also postpone posting it so you can have it as a surprise for a gift for somebody if that's something you want. If you want it to be completely private, never posted on the internet, not even like a photograph of the drawing, the prices are based off how much I get from the Vinci Eye App and how long it takes me to do a drawing like that. So I do have set prices for those. They do not fluctuate for any reason. I do not do it by the hour. I just do it by the average. And yeah, I can also give you an idea on when it's going to be done. So also, if you are an artist and you want to use the app for free, I can give you a promo code for the iOS. Android's currently free because they just dropped a newer version for that. So just send me a message and I will give you that promo code. And then you could also request for the Vinci Eye App live lessons, you can request to challenge me, like doing primary colors for a portrait drawing, or do different mediums and crafts. Like I've done wood burning, stained glass painting, fabric painting, soft pastel, watercolor, acrylics, pens, markers. Like I've done a lot of things, and I will continue to learn more things. So if you want to do something in particular for those live lessons, just let me know, and I can do that. And I strongly recommend for anybody who is an artist to come draw live with me if you want to use the app. So anyways, that is me in a nutshell. So let's get going on just the chill live watching me draw using the Vinci Eye app. So in previous videos, I did the outline using the Vinci Eye app. Now I'm using it as a guideline to get the right colors and the right shades, and the right placement of different things. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about how I pick colors. There are a couple of things that, like the first thing I've done when I was getting back into color after so many years of not drawing, I used an app called Colored Pencil Picker. So what you do is you upload the drawing, and then you click on the area that you want to draw. It will give you the colors that you need to use and how many layers you need to use it. There's different apps. You can either make your own palette to go by, or you can get the app that has pre-done palettes that are usually like this pencil sets that you get from like higher brand pencils like Prismacolor and Faber-Castell Polychromos. But I find that it is more accurate when you just make your own palette on a piece of paper, and you go from dark to light across, putting the number and the name of the pencil beside the color that it is. And then you print off a reference photo so you can compare side by side. If you don't have a printer, you could always use a tablet. And then with the tablet, you can go ahead and do like the color picking color grab. And then it will show you the color, and then you can pick the colors that is closest to it and then add to it to get the right color if you want. Just so you know, every single method is going to have a slightly different result in coloring because the screens are slightly different in color. Printers will print in different colors depending on what you have. And then also I find the Colored Pencil Picker not to be 100% accurate either. But with the app, the Color Pencil Picker, it will at least get you starting to see undertones and stuff like that, which is great to learn color theory that way. But I am now doing it this way. So anyways, I am using Polychromos. That's the pencils that I have in my art studio. And what I'm doing is I'm slowly building up the hair. I am trying to, there's many different things I'm trying to do. I'm trying to follow the flow of the hair, like which direction it's going, the curvature. Also trying to build up the colors. And then later I'm going to really get in some of those really dark areas. And it's been a while, like I've been struggling with this, to be honest. And I just realized why I'm struggling, because I need a little bit of gray in this in some areas. But anyways, so let's get going. Right now I have the app on strobe with the opacity to its fullest, so it goes back and forth between your reference photo and your drawing, so you can make those tiny adjustments as you need to. You do not, like with texture like hair, and if you're doing really close-up skin texture or grass or whatever it is, just use the app as a guideline. Don't need to get it exactly for the placements, but it will get you started at least. So I'm just following the curvature of the hair, trying to color match as I go. And then right in the hairline, I'm just doing some circular motions and light pressure. This helps with a nice smooth texture. Nice smooth finish. Then I'm going to slightly go even lighter just around the edges so it kind of creates a nice transition between the colors. And we're just going to slowly build it up, all these colors. We're not going to go into a rush of getting it done because if you put too much color down right away, it is going to be extremely difficult to get the proper colors you need or get a nice realistic look. So if you can get as many layers as possible, the better it's going to be. Okay, I think I still need to add a bit more color, a bit more brown right in here. There we go. I'm going to add a little bit of skin tone in the hairline a bit. I think I'll go with a darker tan in here to just kind of build that up a bit. I might need to add a little bit of blue to it as well because it is in the shadows. And I feel like I still need to add quite a bit of color in some spots in his face too. But I will work on it. I'll work on every part of it as I go to help make that. Make that look good. Oh. Just realized something. I need to film every so often so that I can get paid for this, because this is actually supposed to be an advertisement and a tutorial. So every hour I'm going to stop to quickly set up my camera and then film my process for about 5 minutes. So every so often you'll see my phone in the way. This one's going to be a very wide shot. So these live videos that I'm doing on my personal accounts are behind the scenes of my videos that I make for the Vinci Eye App. I don't like that either. Let's see, does it work better here? It's a little bit cleaner this way. There we go. I'm going to take this cord off so that it looks nice and clean. So yeah, I get paid to make videos for their YouTube channel. So all these videos that you'll see me go live is just some stuff that I'm doing for my live, like for my work. So there is going to be a little bit of time that I'm not doing this because I have a commission that I'm going to be doing that will eventually be posted, but I can't do any lives with it. And we're going to add a little bit of blue in the shadows, just a very small amount. Light pressure and circular motion so we get a really nice smooth texture. And then we do even lighter pressure just around that area, just so that we can get a nice blended look. And then we're going to move down to the last little section here. I start off with the lightest colors that I see. There is a bit of white, but I'm not going to worry about the white. I am going to add a little bit of a cream color to it. I do think I need to add some gray to it, but very lightly. It's one of the colors that I want to add to. I want to get a lighter version of the gray for my swatches. Then for my palette, my pencil set. Now I'll have to redo everything on here. One thing that you should be aware of is that, especially if you're storing this in a place that has some light on it, you're going to want to redo it every so often because colors do fade after a while, especially like the pinks and reds, they do fade. So you always want to just try to have it as accurate as possible and redo it so often. Add a little bit of yellow. And I'm just doing short strokes, picking up the pencil every single time I place it down. Zigzags just don't look right. Unless if you're trying to fill in the general area with if the lightest color fills the majority of the area, you can do light pressure and circular motions to fill it in and have like a really nice base underneath all the details. It really helps fill that in. But if there's not a whole bunch of that color all the way around it in that area, then just slowly build it up with the lines. So light pressure, doing short strokes to create that nice short buzzed hair. So I know it looks like I'm not doing much, but I am. It is things are happening, just very slowly. I don't think we need any blue, maybe a little bit, just a little bit. And this one is more of like a general area. The hair itself isn't really blue, it's just the shadows and the highlights that change the color a little bit. So I'm just doing some circular motions and light pressure just to add that color to just the general area. This color affects everything. So now that I've done about 5 minutes of filming, this is going to be a very long video, like a very long process. So I only want to do like 5-minute videos every hour. So we're just going to add the blue very lightly to the general area because it's going to affect everything in that area. Okay. I think we can add a little bit of this really warm brown in some areas too. Just a few, not very many places. Now you do not have to take tracing to the level that I do. You can honestly just do the outline and then either freehand the rest, like the shadows and the texture and the colors and everything. You can all do that all freehand. Some people use tracing to like take that perfect sketch that's in their sketchbook to put it on something that is going to be more of a finished product, like a wall or a canvas or whatever it may be, because sometimes you go, oh, I did a really good job of that sketch and I don't think I'll be able to recreate it perfectly. So they just transfer it. And it doesn't have to be like a sketch from a sketchbook. It could also be like a digital image, like a digital painting, transferred onto something that's tangible. Some people use tracing as a stepping stool into their art journey for learning purposes. There's many different ways to learn from tracing. You can study an object from different angles and different poses, only tracing the basic shapes of it. This way you can understand the structure of an image and eventually be able to draw it from your memory. So a good example of that would be drawing a hand with simple shapes from different poses, different angles of the camera, and just keep on doing that, and eventually you'll be able to draw hands, not just freehand, but from your memory. You can also use it to study other artists and how they create their paintings, their different techniques, by really studying the strokes of the paint and the colors that they use and how the shadows and the highlights are placed. There's many different reasons for tracing. Now, tracing's not for everyone. Because not everybody learns the same way, and not everybody likes the idea of tracing because they think it's cheating. I want you to know that tracing has been around for, like, we have records of it going as far back as the 1400s. Leonardo da Vinci used tracing in some of his portraits. He's used grid method. I think there's another thing, I think it's called pouncing, which is poking holes in a paper so that you can add dots to your finished surface that you're going to put the painting on. There's many different things that they used. Some of the coolest things that they had available to them is camera obscura and camera lucida. Camera obscura is what it is it's a dark room or a dark box with a pinhole on one side, and it has an inverted image on the other side of the room. So it's very similar to how our eyes work. And it was also the stepping stool towards our modern camera. So a lot of artists were used as the image like the ones that would capture the image. So one version of the camera obscura was a box that had a hole in it, and then it would reflect onto the other side where the artist would then trace the outline. This would be commonly used for landscapes. They would trace the outline and then finish the work in their studio later. Or even just stand there in person to paint the colors and the shadows and everything. It was all their choice on how they were going to go about doing that. And then camera lucida was like a little triangular piece of glass that reflected an object that was right in front of them, most often like somebody who's sitting for portraits for days. Their initial thing that they would do is they draw the outline and some basic placements of some facial features. By looking through this and being able to see your drawing surface and your subject, which is in front of you, in live form, you'd be able to do it that way. It's kind of like works like a spyglass almost. Like, you know, like that tube that you can like go around corners to see, but the one reflective surface is transparent, so you can see both your drawing surface and your live subject at the same time. So it's really cool. So before our modern cameras, before the chemical reaction of certain chemicals when it hits the sun, they would use artists that have camera obscura to capture images, to create accurate paintings of certain things for historic keeping, or whatever the purpose was. And then they came out with chemical reactions towards the sun on film. So the sun would actually eat away a certain chemical, and then that would give you an opposite of the image for values and colors. And then they'd use chemicals to do pretty much the same thing, but the reverse again, in like those dark red rooms. So cameras were thought to have killed artists because they took their jobs. But because people still wanted to create, because that's what we do, we naturally want to create. Artistry never really died. Now, there's a lot of people out there that think doing portraits is useless, and that makes no sense to do it because you could just get a photograph, the same issue, right? But there are so many people who just really love being able to make a special moment even more special by having an artist draw it. So even if you think it's a useless skill to be able to do portrait art and you're trying to sell portrait art, it doesn't mean that there's not going to be people out there who would want it to be done. It's just not true. So if you're a hater and go, this is dumb, you're just copying a photograph. Well, people like it, so and I enjoy creating it, so it's really none of your business. It really isn't, if you're one of those haters. So I think I'm going to add some gray because I feel like it needs that gray. I feel like that's the color that's missing. And I'm just going to do like a very soft blended layer. So we're doing soft and circular motions, trying to hold the pencil more at the tip, a little bit, holding it a little differently. Instead of having the pencil rest on top of my hand, I'm actually having it in my palm. This I usually do when the pencil is short enough to do that. It really helps get that edge, be able to use the side of the pencil a little bit easier to create a nice soft texture. So yeah, I do think this needs a little bit of gray. Each style of artwork has its own audience. Some people like more of the abstract because it's got more, like it's more motivated by emotion and creativity, or just used as a therapy type of thing. You know, think about what's going on in that person's brain sometimes. And then, so it has its own, creative part. So it's then other methods or other styles. What's creative about portrait art is problem solving, being able to think about how you're going to create texture, how you're going to mix colors. The process itself is the creativity. What's going on in the brain on how to create photorealistic art is the creative part of it. Does that make any sense to you guys? Because I don't know. I don't know if it makes sense to you guys. I think I'm going to invite one of my friends to join in the live. So things you do not do when you're tracing, or even if you're not tracing. As an artist, you should never trace another art piece done by somebody else and claim it to be yours. You should never do that. But you are allowed to trace other people's artwork. If you aren't planning to sell it, you do not claim it to be yours, but it is for learning purposes. That is okay. Now for choosing images, it's highly recommended, especially for portrait work, it's highly recommended that highly recommended to take your own photos, because then it's 100% yours. And yeah, 100% yours. Nobody has any say about the image. Now there are other options. So if somebody commissioned you and they give you they give you permission to use their photos, that's fine. Or if you use a royalty-free or have some sort of contract with a photographer, that's fine too. You can find royalty-free photos in Unsplash. That's where a lot of the Vinci Eye App pictures come from. It's from Unsplash. There are some free photos that you can use, or you can get a paid subscription so that the photographers get some money, or you can even find a photographer that you like and get them to and hire them personally so that they can actually get paid for their work. If you want to, like, there's a pencil drawing, like Colored Pencil Society of America. Let me just see if I can find that. That newspaper that I got. Let's see. Is it in here somewhere? Sorry about this. I just really want to find it so I can show you. There it is. It's underneath all this. And then there's like some table in the way. Got it. So if you're a colored pencil portrait artist, there is a thing, it's called Colored Pencil Society of America. So they have some really cool arts that they display from people all over the world. Some really cool pencil drawings. And if you think you're really talented at art, you can submit your own stuff. They'll also possibly put you in a gallery and all this other thing. So if you're really good at portrait art, they only accept photographs, drawings that photographs that you've done, if you're drawing from life, or drawing from your head. Those are the only types of drawings that they would take, as if it's your photograph that you drew from, or you drew from your head. I know this because I actually talked to the lady who is one of the people in charge of this society. So it's something to think about as a portrait artist. It's something that you can do, is have your artwork featured in that magazine. I haven't been through the process all the way. Like, I haven't tried it myself, but just something to think about. I might be able to submit some of my family drawings. Like, I really love, I kind of wish I did it in color now. There's a drawing I did of my daughter in graphite. And I wonder if they have a version of something like that for graphite. But I really want to submit it because I really love it. And then I have another drawing I did of my daughter of her blowing bubbles. That was in color and it was really nice. So I think I might submit those in with this one and that one. I also want to talk to you about different ways you can make money of doing something you really love, like art. If you really love doing art but having a hard time selling your work, here are a few things to think about. There are so many different avenues that you can take to sell artwork. You don't necessarily, it's really hard to sell artwork, like the actual drawing or painting on canvas. That's probably the hardest way to go about it. but it's not impossible. If you really want to try to do that, I recommend going into your local like farmers markets and craft and arts and crafts shows, or depending on the kind of art that you do. So if you're doing anime art, you can go into the anime conventions and sell stuff there. A lot of people like to buy the smaller things. So if you have a really cool piece of artwork, really hard to sell the original because it's usually really expensive. Like print it off on something, whether it be like a postcard or something that's useful like a bookmark. You can also get like flat earrings. You can print off on the earrings or create art on coasters, covers of sketchbooks or notebooks, phone cases. Like just think about all the different things you can do. One thing that is super popular is keychains with very simple artwork of like people's pets. Pet portraits are super popular. If that's something you're into. People portraits are not as popular, but there's always somebody who's looking for a people portrait. So like, don't think about, like, you can think about trying to sell your drawings on paper and canvas, but those are just the really hard ways to do it. Not impossible, but hard. Open yourself up for commissions. If you're doing commissions, I highly recommend asking for 50% up front, keeping them updated during the entire process. If you only get halfway done and they decide to cancel, I'd recommend reimbursing them for at least half of that down payment, because they didn't waste all your time. They only waste some of your time. This is only suggestions. This is only what I do, so you don't have to do it that way. But I ask for 50% off. Keep them posted every time that I sit down and draw, so that way they can make requests on changing it. You can decide, if they don't like it, you can either decide to restart it for no extra charge or just cancel the order yourself. It's up to you. That is your precious time. Do not send them a picture of the finished artwork without some sort of watermark on it. I take a plastic sheet of paper, a see-through plastic sheet of paper, wrote my name and permanent marker on that, and I place it on top and then take a picture. You do that for your safety. Well, not for your safety, but for your rights to your drawing, so they can't be like, well, I just got a picture of your drawing, so now I can just print it off. You don't want those types of people. And they do exist. They're not super common, but they exist. I recommend signing your artwork. It doesn't matter where your signature is. Most people would do bottom right corner for their signature. Some people do it somewhere in the center, like Van Gogh would do that for his sunflowers in a pot. He would actually put his name on the pot itself, so it's nice and center, which is super smart, because then if somebody was to steal his artwork, they would have a really hard time either recreating the signature or removing the signature from their work, from his work. Many different versions of art theft. One that I came across, I did like 20 drawings for this one guy when I first started doing commissions. And he actually removed my signature from the front of the picture and then resold them or gifted them to family members. I'm not sure which one he did, and claiming it to be his original work. which I got super mad. I want to sue him. I still want to sue him. But he is from the other side of the country. And I know how hard it is and how expensive it is to go through the court system. And I really don't want to do that. But I do have it so that I have all those pieces posted on the internet. I have strong evidence that I've done those pieces because there's actually footage of me drawing, using my own hands, obviously. And it would be really hard for him to convince that it's his hands because he is a different skin tone than I am. Well, the lesson I learned from that is I take permanent marker or a pen to do a signature on the front right corner, and then I flip it over. I put the date that it was finished, my name printed, and my signature all in the middle of the page. So if they really wanted to try to convince people it was their work, they would have to crop off the center of the piece, which would be the most important part of the drawing. So that's what I do. That's my tip for you. I'm really focusing more on the drawing itself at this point. I already got the basics of placement. I'm just really trying to build up some more layers, building up the color a little bit more and the texture, just so that it looks like there's quite a bit of hair on him. And he does. He's got quite a bit of hair. He's got nice thick hair. I should also tell you about the most common scams that I come across while advertising for commissions. One is they'd asked to change the method of communication is one red flag, especially when it comes to like, let's talk on WhatsApp. That is a very common one that they would ask you to start communicating with. They'd also ask you if you had a certain type of payment method. So like a lot of the time it was PayPal. I still use PayPal because I know how to spot these scams. Or they'd ask you to do some other similar payment methods. And then they'd ask for your email for that account so that they can send you the money. So-called send you the money. Now that they got your email, they can fake an email from the app, the payment method that you're using, saying that you're not a business account. And therefore, you only have a certain limit that you can receive. And if you want this payment, you need to have them send you money, and then you need to send them back that money. So they're going to send you more money, and then you have to pay them back. The problem is you'll never see that money. You'll never see the original amount. And you will never see the extra that they give them. So they're going to send you the email. They're going to say, okay, I need to send you more money and you need to pay me right away. That's a big thing. And then you go, here's my idea. We can wait for it to happen, which I doubt will happen. And then I can start the drawing, but I need to see that money first before I ever send money back to you. That's it. And then sometimes if you claim that they are scamming you, then sometimes they'll get a little aggressive and be like, how dare you call me a scammer? I'm not a scammer. You stole my money, blah, 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 blah. Just block them at that point. Just block them. And then also, if it does, which is very rare and, well, has never happened to me. It's not even rare. It just never happens. If you ever do see that money, you can reimburse them by canceling the amount. If so. But it never happens. So you don't have to worry about that. About stealing money. They never sent you money. It's starting to come together. The hair is still not in the, it's still not where I want it to be. Like, there's still a lot more to do. I'm just going to continue on building up layers until it's right exactly the way I want it to be. So that is the most common scam, and I get them often. Some little hints to figure out if they're a scammer right away is that they'll ask you to do it privately, never posted is one common sign. They respond to you super quick every single time you talk to them. Their English will be broken. They don't spell, they have lots of spelling errors and grammar errors a lot in their communication. They'll send you messages in the middle of the night. Those are some common things to look for and to spot a scammer quickly. And it really annoys me. One of the reasons why I don't advertise commissions anymore is because every time I do, I get like 10 scammers almost immediately, and it's really annoying. So now I kind of advertise for my commissions as I go live. That way I know that it's like, that way it's just less. For some reason, it's just less scammers. It's almost there. I'm wondering if using my colorless pencil will bring that back to life. Like, we'll bring it to life, bring up color. So let's use the colorless pencil. And we're just going to push that color right into the page. We're going in the direction of the hair to do this because we do not want to lose the texture. This colorless pencil I am using is from Prismacolor. I find it works pretty good with all the pencils that I have, like all the colored pencils that I have used. But of course, using it for the same brand of pencils works the best, but that's just because the pencils are made differently. Each type of colored pencils are going to have a different base to it. So Prismacolors are wax based. That's what makes them soft and easy to place. And Faber-Castells, the ones that I use, are made out of oil. So they're a little bit of a tougher core to them. But this is great for small details like little strands of hair and fur, details in the iris, like a bunch of different things. So when looking for a pencil set or brand, think about what you're looking for in a pencil, do some research. Like if you want to be able to do more highly detailed stuff, then I'd recommend Faber-Castell. If you like a really nice blended, almost almost painted look, then Prismacolor is really good too. Or you can use both. You can use both pencils. There's no rules. You can make them friends. One really big recommendation that I can give you is that when you are picking out your colored pencils for professional reasons, like if you're doing this professionally, or whatever, it doesn't have to be professional. What am I saying? Find pencils, companies that sell the colored pencils separately, because it costs quite a bit of money to buy a new pencil set just because you're out of like black or something. And then you have like a whole bunch of different pencils that you'll hardly use, and you just get like a million of them after a while. So